When you consider the fact that every single thing that the narcissist does is an attack on its scapegoat, and every single thing that the narcissist does is an attempt to make the scapegoat jealous, that's not normal. That's not normal. If every event that you go to is some sort of an attempt to make your victim or your scapegoat jealous, or some sort of an attempt to deprive the scapegoat by triangulating and excluding the scapegoat and not including, that's intentional sabotage. That's an intentional emotional deprivation. That's not normal behavior. That's the behavior of somebody who constantly needs validation, and they seek this validation in a psychosadistic type of way by depriving their target or their victim, which is abnormal behavior, completely abnormal. There is not one single thing normal about behaving in a way that would cause intentional damage, emotional damage, or deprivation to somebody that you should be emotionally available towards. Now, when the narcissist is well known for being criminally negligent, and then they try to come around and act like they care, it is exclusively to gaslight and to victim blame. That is unacceptable behavior. That is toxic and that is abusive. Emotional neglect is toxic and it's abusive. When you intentionally get married so that during the time that your scapegoat is having a fallout in the relationship, or maybe going through a divorce or a separation, and you're just getting married to have a wedding, you're not even in love, and the fact that you don't have sex with your wife, your now wife, it proves that you're not in love and that you just did it for attention. The wedding was just that. It was just a wedding. There's something like criminally wrong. Every single thing that you do should not be an attempt to make somebody jealous, to make anybody jealous. You're like so far gone and so far out of touch with reality that it's actually criminal. So the people that you should be supporting and you should be emotionally empathetic towards, the people that you should be emotionally available towards, is the person you're trying to attack and make jealous ritualistically, and then that still doesn't even work. You end up being left feeling shittier, not better, and statistically this has been proven. I write about it in my books. You actually get left with a guilty conscience that makes you feel worse, not better, about yourself, about the choice that you made to be criminally negligent and psychotic. Every single move that you make should not be an attempt to make somebody else jealous. If you're in a competition with somebody all the fucking time, you are losing, period. Confident people are not constantly competing with others. It doesn't matter if they're doing well. It doesn't matter if they're doing horrible. They don't compete. Everything is not a competition because I'm an alpha. I set the tone. And if you don't respect that, then you don't respect you. If you can't understand me, then you don't understand yourself. You're suffering with your own mental illness. And it's all intentional. Every last bit of it is intentional. And something that the white community really needs to understand is that criminal negligence is a form of insanity. And if you continue to behave this way towards a specific individual, they will eventually start to feel a certain type of way. They might feel insecure. They might have struggle with low self-esteem. These are the long-term results of being a scapegoat. And like At this point, you have to know that somebody like me who came from a broken family, parents didn't want me at all, still don't to this day. Can't stand to hear my voice, don't want to see any photos of me, because every time they do, they're reminded of their criminal negligence and their own insanity and their own insecurities. Every time they hear my voice or see a photo of me, it becomes some sort of a internal competition within themselves to try to one-up me in any and every way that they possibly can, because the narcissist is incomplete and always seeking to compete with other people, especially their victim, especially their scapegoat. They have to make sure that they have a better car than you, a better phone than you, a better house than you, a better wife or husband than you, better children than you, better family than you. It's always in competition with whoever it seeks, whoever it feels like makes it feel insecure about itself. Which, by the way, nobody makes you jealous. Nobody makes you mad. Those are feelings that you choose to entertain. Those are thoughts that you choose to entertain. Nobody makes me mad. I choose to feel that. Nobody makes me jealous, and that's why I'm not jealous of anybody. No matter how fucking hard you try, you are only making yourself look psycho. With all of these attempt after attempt after attempt after attempt to try to make me jealous, honey, I'm still shining brighter than ever. All up in your face. And what? You ain't making or breaking me. So what is interesting, though, is that people who are truly confident, they don't need external validation. Now, I'm getting a little bit older, but I damn sure wasn't 16 going into the doctor's office getting a double nose job. No. So I'm starting to age myself. Don't get me wrong. I had a little bit of insecurities after having children, and I wanted cleavage. I lost cleavage. I was so skinny after giving birth. I was so lean. I was such a 00, perfect conditioned body. There was nothing wrong with my body. There was nothing wrong with my body then. There's nothing wrong with my body now. I'm confident. And as a way to add a little bit of confidence and add a little bit of cleavage, guess what? I got a boob job. But you know what? I paid for that myself. My mother and father did not help me pay for that. My boyfriend did not help me pay for that. My children definitely did not sacrifice for me to have that. Okay? As a single mother, I have sacrificed every single thing for my children. And they are fucking spoiled, rotten. And I regret that. But at least I got my cleavage. That's what I wanted. I wanted my cleavage back. That's it. So, but that's besides the point. Because they don't have the money or the courage or the stamina to actually get fit, go to the gym, or do whatever it takes to make the changes that they need to make to permanently change the way that they feel about themselves, because they're at war with their bodies. That's why they're so mental. More often than not, you'd be shocked at how many people are super successful financially and they're not fucking happy because they're at war with their bodies, and it causes them to be mentally ill. Because instead of getting up and making the choice to change whatever it is that they're unhappy about, they rather nitpick and find flaws in the person that is actually taking the steps necessary to indefinitely change their destiny, to make themselves happy. So because somebody else had the courage to make the steps, to take the steps necessary and make the changes necessary to change their lives, as a result, they changed the world. So now you mean to tell me you're so fucking lazy, you're just going to sit there and nitpick about every single one of this person's flaws and gossip and spread rumors and make lies up? I hope you know that every single time you sit down to gossip about somebody else's flaws, it's a deflection because you don't want to face yourself. You're too afraid to face yourself. You know you are flawed, and instead of making the changes necessary to indefinitely change your life, your body, your mental health, you rather focus on somebody else. That's why you're not happy. That's why I will be happier than you will ever be with nothing at all. I'm happy with my body. I know my pussy's tight because it keeps him coming home every night. Gotta be. Can't be no other way. Thank you. One of the funniest things that the narcissist does, though, is it will try to act like it doesn't watch your videos so as to invalidate you. And when you're having a face-to-face conversation with the narcissist about what's going on in your life, and you're talking about all of the things that you talk about in your books and on your program, on my program, it makes the stupidest face ever, like it doesn't know. It tries so hard to act like it isn't all up in your business. Like it doesn't need to know what you're talking about in your books. It doesn't need to know what you're saying in your program, because it doesn't need any narcissistic supply. Why does it do this when it's written all over its stupid fucking face? And I know better. I know that the narcissist is addicted, like an addict, to abusing its power and to abusing its scapegoat. And as such, it constantly needs a source of supply, narcissistic supply. It checks to see how the fucking scapegoat is doing, so it has narcissistic supply. And then when it's given the opportunity to face the scapegoat, and the scapegoat is telling the narcissist pretty much the truth, everything that I say in my show, on my program, in my books, etc., the narcissist will make the dumbest fucking face ever, like if it doesn't know, trying to pretend and act like if it doesn't watch the program, like if it didn't read the book, when it did. You know how fucking stupid you look? You know how fucking retarded you look trying to act like you don't listen to my fucking program? Trying to act like you don't listen to the program so that you can have some sort of gossip material when you get with cult-minded individuals that are placating to your insecurities by attacking me behind my back, by scapegoating me. You know how fucking stupid you look? Trying to act like you don't care, trying to act like you don't know so you can try to pretend like you don't care. You look like the biggest fucking dumbass I've ever fucking known and ever seen in my life. Why the fuck would I waste my time with you when you have proven time and time and time again that the only thing you are interested in is watching me suffer, is watching me struggle, depriving me of my happiness, and emotionally invalidating me and everything I've experienced? Because you're negligent, criminally negligent. You don't care because you're a fucking narcissist who is fucking negligent, who neglected your children. That's why we were raised by black folks in a foster home. And so the wickedest thing happened when my son, for the first time ever, spent a summer vacation away from me to go spend time with my other family members that I keep at an arm's length for a reason. And I'm going to tell you why. My son spent some time with these people, and these people manipulated my child into believing that Felicity's father is Ethan's father. Do you know how easy it is to manipulate a vulnerable teenage child who's trying to figure out who they are and where they come from, and is probably extremely insecure about who their father is? I mean, I can only imagine. I'm not a boy. But I was a foster child, a female foster child without parents. So I can somewhat understand where my son is coming from. And the first thing that these fucking socialized psychopaths do is try to recruit him as a fucking flying monkey for their fucking team and manipulate my child into believing that Felicity's father, and this was a group effort, this was a group attempt, this is something that they gossip about ritualistically. Who is Ethan's father? Albert Vasquez. 2141. Knoll Street, Selma, California. That's Ethan's father. Take a DNA test. I'd love to. I'd love to prove all of these fucking haters wrong. They need a source of supply. They use the child as a source of narcissistic supply, and they do this by manipulating him at my expense. Now the child comes home with a disrespectful attitude to me because he's been successfully groomed and manipulated into believing that Felicity's father is his father, when that is not true. And because he was manipulated, he has established a biased attitude towards me. First and only time my child has ever left. In probably over 10 years. The time before this, the one and only time before this that my son went to my cousin's house, he came back complaining about how one of the cousins there, Zach, flashed him his penis. So why I don't reach out to family members? Well, I don't have a family to reach out to. I don't understand why so many people are like, why do you stay in a toxic relationship? What is the alternative? Go around family members who are all child predators and allow them to prey on my child? That's not an option. People who allow their children around these child predators that are in my family are also child traffickers. That's not me. It happened one time. It won't happen again. My son is not going to be going around people who are manipulating him because they see his vulnerability in his childhood as something to exploit. I don't think so. You're fucking insane.